I welcome you all back to today's lesson. Even as we start complex numbers in today's lesson, we are going to do this in series. We are going to cover everything that we are supposed to know under this topic called complex numbers. So, how can we understand complex numbers, or how can we know a complex number? A complex number is denoted by this: z is equal to x plus I then y, like this. This is a complex number. So each time we are talking about a complex number, this is what you are supposed to know. Where the x which is here and the y which is there, so the x and the y, these are members of what? Real numbers. This is what you are supposed to know. These are members of real numbers. So the x here, the x which is there, it is called the real part of z. So I'm going to do this real part of what? Z. So the real part of z is called x. And we also have the imaginary part. Imaginary part, I'll do this, which is what? Imaginary part of z is equal to y. This is what you are supposed to know and understand. So these are some of the things that you need to know and understand. A complex number here is z. In other words, a complex number is made up of a real part. This one is called a real part. So it's made up of a real part. This is called a real part. This one, the y, which is there, the y is called the imaginary part. It is called the imaginary part. So I want you to know this and I want you to understand this. So I'm breaking down this topic so that we may understand each and every concept that I'm going to share with you. So this is a complex number z, and we've got this one, which means that a complex number is made up of a real part and an imaginary part. So this is the real part here, and this is the imaginary part. So we say the real part of z is x according to that. Have you seen? So let's say if I give you a question here, let's say I say z is equal to 5 plus 3i. What if I do this? So what is the real part of z? What is the real part of z? So the real part of z is what? Is a 5 here. Just a 5 there. Have you seen? Here, x, which is also there, which the one that I said. And then you move to the imaginary part. What is the imaginary part of z? Imaginary part of z, this one, you just say a 3. So that is the what? The imaginary part of z. So I want you to understand this. So we've discussed about the real part and the imaginary part of a complex number. I believe these are simple things to know. These are simple stuffs to remember, even in an exam. Let us now move forward and look at another part. So we are building up. This is just a foundation I'm laying here. I want you to understand even as we get to advance. So let us talk about addition. We talk about addition. Let us talk about addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction of complex numbers. So we talk about addition and subtraction of complex numbers. So what are you supposed to know? Let's say you are given something like this. This is 1 plus I. This is a complex number. You are told to add it with this one, which is 3 plus I, like this. So what is your answer in this case? You are given these two complex numbers. So when I say this is a complex number, it must have a real part and an imaginary part. So in this case, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So you need to group the real part and the imaginary part. So you separate them, then you add them. So the real part in this case, what is the real part there? The real part is 1. I say 1 plus. In here, what is the real part? It is just a 3. I do this, I do that. Then I maintain the sign, I say plus. The I outside. Then what is the real imaginary part this side? Coefficient there, it is 1 plus. I do this. Then what is also the imaginary part here? It is 1. The coefficient there, it is 1 like this. So in conclusion, what are we going to say? What is 1 plus 3? That is a 4. Then plus, I'm going to do this plus. Plus what? What is 1 plus 1? It is 2. I won't say I2. I'll say 2. Then I will come like this. So it means I've added these two complex number. I believe this is very simple. You don't need to struggle about this. This is very simple. You are understanding this. I guess this is very simple. No one can fail to add this. Let me now give you another example under this. I give you another example under this. So for those of you that are under my online tuitions, those of you that I'm helping, after this, I'm going to give you some practice questions that you are going to practice. These are questions that you are going to try out. So make sure you copy down everything that I'm going to discuss with you, everything that I'm doing in this lesson. So let us look at, hope you've written down this. Let us look at another question. So another question under this, it can be like this. What if you are given something like 5 plus 2 plus 5i, like this, then minus. Have you seen there we were adding? Here it's minus. Minus what? 1 minus 4i, like this. So we are told to subtract now this. So we are doing addition and subtraction of what? Complex numbers. So how can you go about this? What are some of the things that are supposed to be done? So for you to work out this, what you are supposed to do now is that you need to get this, the real part. So the real part, it is a 2 there. Then you say, what is now the real part there? Since there is a negative here, when you multiply there, you're going to get a negative. So here you say minus what? Minus 1. You do this. So this is the real part. So when you are done with this, then you maintain the sign. We always maintain. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put what? I'm going to put a plus here. I'm going to say plus like this. Then I say I. Then I get the what? I get the imaginary part. The imaginary part there, it is 5 like this. There is a negative here, and that negative, it's plus. So it's plus 4i, which means that plus 4i. What is the imaginary part? Plus 4. So I say plus 4 like this. I do this. So if I add these two, what is 2 minus 1? It is 1. So it is 1 plus. What is 4 plus 5? It is 9. So 9, then I, like that. So this is how you need to work out that. Have you seen? These are some of the things that are supposed to be done. This is a 1. Someone can think that is I. That is 1. So when you add or subtract, you need to come up with a complex number. Have you seen? So this is what? This is a complex number that I'm having here. So what I want you to get is that every number can be expressed as a complex number. Every number can be expressed as a complex number. In a case where you just have, so let me do this. In a case where you just have, let's say you find your answer as 4. Your answer is just 4. Have you seen? Your answer is just 4. So if I tell you to express this one as a complex number, which means it will be what? It will be 4 plus 0, then I, like this. Have you seen? So this 4, I've expressed it as a complex number in that. So this and that. Have you seen? So even if you are just having I like this, I, just I. This is a complex number where you can express that 0 plus I, like this. So you are able to express something that is written like this to a complex number. So don't be confused whenever you are just given a single number, then you are confused saying, okay, this is a number 4. What is the imaginary part? What is the real part? According to the way I've expressed this, this is a 4. So here, this is the real part. The imaginary part is what? Is 0. So any number can be expressed as a complex number. When I write a number, or when I write a 10, when I write just I, you can express it as a complex number. So this is what you are supposed to know. These are some of the things that you are supposed to get and understand. So we are going to go deeper in this. We are going to understand this at another level. So let us look at another part. Let us look at another part where we get to multiply complex numbers. So we look at a part where we get to multiply complex numbers. So before we look at the part where we are supposed to, so let me do this. So before we look at multiplication of complex numbers, there is one thing that I want you to know. So before we look at multiplication, so we go now to multiplication. So we look at multiplication. So we are dealing with multiplication of what? These are complex numbers that I'm dealing with. So this is multiplication of complex numbers. Of what? Complex numbers. You know that we are dealing with complex what? Complex numbers. So this is multiplication of complex numbers. We are still dealing with complex numbers. So I want you to understand this very well. So when I say I squared is equal to what? Is equal to -1. This is what you need to know. I squared is equal to -1. So in a case where I give you 2i multiplied by 2i, what is your answer? You know that when I and I multiplies, you get -1. So 2 times 2, it is 4. So in this case, your answer will be -4. Have you seen? So I want you to understand this. The same way I'm working out this is the same way you are supposed to understand and get a full concept under this. So I want you to get this, and I want you to understand this very well. So if I say I times I, what is your answer? Your answer is -1. This is the answer you are going to get. But 2i times I, what is your answer? -2. Because I times I, you get a negative. Then 2 times 1, it is just 2. So this is what you are going to get. This is the answer that we've found. So hope you are able to see this. Hope you are able to understand clearly on this. So now let us now move forward and look at a question where you get to multiply 2 complex numbers. I believe you are going to understand this. This is very simple. Hope you are going to understand and get the full concept on this. So let's say you are given something like 2 plus 3i. 2 plus 3i. You are told to multiply it with 3 plus 2i, like this. You want to multiply these 2 complex numbers. So this one is a complex number. This one is also a complex number. How can you multiply these 2? So the way in which we are going to multiply these 2 is that we are going to do this. You are going to get this one, multiply it with that one. Have you seen? So you get the real part and the imaginary part. So what you are going to do is this. 2 times 3, it is 6. So it says 6. Have you seen? So if you get this one, you multiply it with that other one, you are going to get an imaginary part. You cannot get a real part. So what are you going to do? But if you multiply 3i and 2i, you are going to get what? You are going to get a real part. Because 3i times 2i, what is your answer? negative 6 because I squared, which is I times I, is negative 1. So, and a 6, so negative 6. So 2i, 3i times 2i, you get negative what? Negative 6. So minus 6, you put them like this. So we found the what? We found this part which we call the Liu part. We now go to, you say plus I, you go to now to the imaginary part. Imaginary part is where you get to multiply this one times that one. Have you seen? So 3i times 3, you get what? 9i. So you just say 9 because the I is outside there. We factor out an I. Then you also know that if you multiply this one and that one, 2 times 2, that is a 4. So plus 4. Instead of saying 4i, because I've factored out a 4 there, I do this. This is what I'm going to do. So 6 minus 6, that is a 0, plus 9 plus 4, that is 13. So 13i. Have you seen? Then finally, my answer will now be what? Just 13i. This is how my answer is going to be. So this is how we get to multiply complex numbers. Hope you've seen the procedure that I've done. Hope you've seen everything that I've done. So this is what you are supposed to do. This is what you are supposed to get. So what you are going to do is that to give you to summarize everything, what you need to do is for you to find this is the Liu part. You know that this is the Liu part. This is the Liu part. So you say this one, you multiply to this first one. Then this one will be multiplied with that one. That's how you get to find the Liu part. The imaginary part, you get this one will multiply with that one. And that one will multiply with that one. That's how we get to find the imaginary part. So this is what you are supposed to do. These are some of the things that you are supposed to understand. Hope you are able to understand. Hope you are able to see what I'm doing here. Let us now look at another question. We look at another question where you are told to work out this. Let us look at another question. We look at another question. So you've got something like this. You've got 2 plus. So I will say, let me do this. Let me give another question here. So negative 1 plus 3i. These are in brackets like this. 2 plus 2i like this. What answer can you find there? So when you multiply these two complex numbers, what answer are you going to have? So what answer are you going to have when you multiply these two complex numbers? So what you are going to do is this. This is what you are going to do. So I told you that first you need to get the Liu part. You need to get the Liu part. How are you going to get the Liu part? This is negative 1. You multiply it with a 2 there. So negative 1 times 2, that is negative 2. Then this one times that one. Have you seen? So 3 times 2 is 6. Now I times I, negative 1. So there we get negative what? 6. We are going to get a negative 6. So this is the what? This is the Liu part. Plus I like this. Then you get the imaginary part. Which one is the imaginary part? The imaginary part. You say this one here multiply to this one. Have you seen? The I will still maintain. We won't have two I's where we get negative 1. So this one times that one. So this is negative. You are going to get negative what? Negative 2. You are going to get a negative 2. So that's a negative 2 that we are going to have. After you do that, after doing that, you now move this one, you multiply to that one. Have you seen? So if you didn't understand this, hope I've explained this in another way, which I feel it is better for you to understand. So this times that, this times that. So this times that, that is a 6. So plus 6. Don't say 6i because we factor out I. Don't say 6i because we factor out I outside here. So the next thing you're going to do here, you're going to get negative 8 plus, when you add there, you get 4. Have you seen 4? So 4i I like this. So meaning this is the what? This is your answer. This is what you are supposed to do. These are some of the things that you are supposed to understand. Hope with this information that I've shared, you are able to work out questions that can come in an exam. So make sure you understand this, you understand everything that we are going to do. These are the basics that you need to know. These are some of the things that you are supposed to understand. So let us now look at another part. We look at a different part now. So we are building up, we are building, we are still going. So we are still going, we are still moving. Hope you are able to understand what I'm illustrating with you here. Hope you are able to understand this. Hope everyone is clear on this. Hope you are all clear. You are able to understand this very well. So these are simple things that you are supposed to know. Let us now look at divisions. So we look at divisions of complex numbers. So divisions of what? Complex numbers. How can you divide complex numbers? So we look at divisions of what? Complex numbers. This is what we want to look at. How can you divide two complex numbers? How can you divide two complex numbers? So the way in which you get to divide two complex numbers, it is very simple, and I'm going to show you how you can do it. Let's say you are given something like 2 plus 3i. This is what you are given, over 1 plus. So 1 plus, that's what you are given. So 1 plus, I'm going to say 2i. This is what you are given. So these are two complex numbers you want to divide. So what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do for you to answer this? What are you supposed to do? This is a question here that you want to answer. So what are you supposed to do for you to work out this? You need to find now the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate, hope you remember on the conjugate of this. So this one will maintain 2 plus 3i like that. You multiply to the conjugate of this. What is the conjugate? You know that the conjugate changes the operation. So we are going to have 1 minus 2i. That's what you're going to have. Then you say over. Over here you've got 1. That is 1 plus 2i. You multiply it with its conjugate, 1 minus 2i. Have you seen? This is what you get to do. So you just find the conjugate of the denominator there. On the denominator there, we found that it's 1 minus 2i. Then you multiply it to the both sides. This is what you are supposed to do, and this is what you need to do. Then I've just taught you on how to multiply complex numbers. It is here now. You now multiply complex numbers. How can you multiply the complex numbers there? How can you multiply complex numbers? I've taught you this, and I believe we are able to work out this. We are not facing any challenge on this. So what we are going to do is this. I'm going to say this times that. I'm going to multiply these two. So this times that, what answer am I getting? So I'm on top. I do, this is equal to. So this times that, that is a 2. So I'm going to say 2. Then this times that. Have you seen? So there is this one here. 3 times negative 2. That is negative 6. Then I times I, I'm going to get times negative 1. Have you seen? So negative what? 6 times negative 1, you get positive 6. So here plus what? Plus 6. This is the what? This is the real part. Then I say plus I like this. I say plus I. Then now what is now the imaginary part? I say this one which is here times that one. I'm going to get what? I'm going to get negative 4. I'm going to get negative 4. So when I do this now, the moment I'm just done with this, then I move now, I check. This one, which is here, this and that. Have you seen this and that? What answer am I getting? This and that. What answer am I getting? I'm going to get 3 times 1, that is plus 3. I is outside here, so no need of including it. Then I say over what? So you know that when you multiply the conjugate here, when you get this, you multiply it with its conjugate. The answer that you are going to get, is like this. It's just the same as you are squaring this and that. Have you seen? So the answer you are going to get here is just the same as 1 squared plus there is a 2 squared. So just the same as this. So if you don't want to do the calculations, what and what, to find the real part, imaginary part, you just square this. So since we are running, obviously here when you add, definitely the answer will be a 5. So let me show you how the 5 is coming about. So you say this times that. 1 times 1, what answer are you getting? 1 times 1, it is 1. So 1, I do this. Then this one, which is here, 2i times the negative 2. I, it's negative 1. Then times 2 times negative 2, it's negative 2. So here we're getting a 2. So what answer am I getting here? So 2 times 2, that's a 4. So it's a 4. So it's just positive 4. Like this. This is what you're going to do. When you're done with this, you go to the imaginary part. What is the imaginary part? Here you multiply this times that. You're going to get negative 2. This 2 times 1, you get plus 2. You do this. Have you seen this one here? If we work out what is down, so I just want to work out what is down. When you work out what is down here, you are going to get 5 plus what? Here it's a 0, so 0i, which is just a 5. If you remember what I told you, have you seen? This is just a 5 that we have. So if you remember very well what I told you, I just said that you just need to square these. You just get 1, you square it, plus 2, you square it like that. You still get a what? A 5. Have you seen? Just one and the same thing. So from here you say this is now equal to, this is now equal to, this is now equal to what? What answer are you going to get here? So there, what answer are you getting? We are getting 8 plus. There, what answer are we getting? What answer are we going to get here? We are going to get negative 1. So I'm going to say negative I. Instead of saying negative 1i, but negative I. This is what I'm going to do. Over what? Over 5 like this. So this is the answer. If you want, you can just say this is 1 over 5. Then you do this. This is 8 minus I. This is just one and the same thing. You do this minus I. This is just one and the same thing. So this is your answer. This is what you are supposed to do. So these are simple things that you can't fail to do. These are simple stuffs that you need to do. So when you're given a question, this is what you are supposed to do. These are some of the things that you are supposed to follow. So don't say this is a different question. This is one, like you are given a question like you are told to divide 1 over I, like this. You are told to divide this. Have you seen? So if you want to understand it better, you know that this is the same as what? This is the same as 1 plus 0i, like this. Over what? 0 plus I, like this. Then you work out. You know how to work out this now. So don't say this is a different question. When a question comes like this, it's different. So you can practice this. I want answers for this one here. So let me love this. I've just taught you this, the interpretation. So I want answers for this one. So I want answers for this one. 1 divide I. What answer are you going to find? So I want answers for that one. I want answers. So if there is a person that is watching this and could like to be under my lessons, This is my WhatsApp line. You can get in touch with me on this line. This is my WhatsApp line. You can WhatsApp me. So even as you get to WhatsApp me, you need to specify the level you are doing. Don't just text me and say you want tuitions. You need to specify. You are saying you are doing A levels or you are under the School of Business Studies. You specify you are a student, because we get to do a lot of lessons from different sectors. So you specify, you introduce yourself very well, so that even our answer will be according to how you've texted. But if you just text you want tuitions, we don't know, maybe you want GCE, you want grade 12, you need to specify. We get to do tuitions even for the grade 12 secondary school level. So this is where we are going to end from. Those under my teachings, let me now give you certain questions that I want you to practice. I give you questions that you are going to try out. I see if you've understood this and see how we are going to move forward. Thank you so much. We are back again. We are going to be back with a different lesson, which is lesson 2, where we are going to look at equations involving complex numbers. For now, we end here. So those of you under my teachings, let me give you now questions that we are going to try out. Questions that we are going to try out. Thank you so much.